What's up, everyone, and welcome to the 36th episode of the Envision Gaming Podcast. I'm your host, Rads Gaming. As always, I'm joined by Clownish Joe
Howdy, folks.
and Triple Bravo.
Hello, everyone.
All right, so jumping straight to the point. Technically, this should be our catch-up episode, but obviously, Elden Ring came out.
Bravo ruined everything.
I'm sorry.
I think Elden Ring ruined everything, honestly.
That
So,
too.
Yeah, we do have some things to share before, so it'll be like a little mini catch-up episode, I guess you could say.
Mhm.
Bravo is mainly going to take the course for this part. So
Wrong. I'm gonna lead us off.
No.
With
Don't show this thing. Are you going?
Do it. Do it. Don't listen to Brad.
added a new member to my collection today. It's a very rare collector's edition game. There's only been about 12 produced, but it's the Smurfs Ville Leaf collector's edition.
Belief.
The game, the little bit I played of it, it's not very good. It's not very good. But I like the Smurfs, and I got a dope Papa Smurf keychain somewhere. Here it is.
Mm-hmm.
I remember
That's
the
what
first time I saw that
Yeah.
collector's edition. I was like, do I buy this? It's kind of cool.
And then
That's
it came with a dope little hefty Smurf figurine.
yeah. You said is like a really good
It's like-
quality.
It's like porcelain or something. I'm not sure. It
Mm.
feels porcelain.
Mm.
It's got some weight to it.
Yeah.
Hey, look at him next to Spyro, though.
Spyro is a tank.
Oh my god.
This boy is big.
Club somebody
He's-
down. That could be a weapon in Elden Ring.
I wonder if
Yeah.
that can hold a Steam
Don't
Deck.
tempt me. I mean, I'm sure it could. It could hold a Switch
Yeah.
and have some
I
space.
think they're similarly sized,
Yep.
width-wise.
Yeah.
But
Speaking of Steam Deck,
oh,
Whoa, transition.
whoa, I have acquired the Steam Deck.
Mm-hmm.
I got it today. Like
I don't care about the backside. Show me the front side.
the boxes are still there. Okay, we've booted up the Elden Ring. We've played it for 1.5 hours. It wasn't a full charge battery when I got it, so I plugged it in, let it do its updates. I played it initially through the remote play feature, so it was using the tower and playing through here, and it was great. No issues at all. I fought one of the giant guys with no guts at the castle, and I only had one issue, which like I dodge rolled and it like delayed for a half second, and that could have been the game versus the deck, but that was
'cause
literally it.
That is
So-
a complaint of the game.
Yeah. And then I stopped playing. So that was about 30 minutes of playtime. I stopped playing and then downloaded the game onto the deck, which I, thanks to Jayhawk, member of the community, he found a 1 terabyte SD card for like 40% off, which is just crazy. I mean, it's the size of my
Dang.
pinky nail. So I've got that plugged in. So I have a terabyte of storage onto this, which actually I should bring up that this is the cheapest Steam Deck that they sell. I tried to buy the more expensive ones, but the amount of people trying to reserve at the time, I just clicked until I got one to work. So that was the one. Jayhawk and I actually plan to do a breakdown upgrade together. So Valve is doing an amazing job with like support and like letting people break things down and working with people. So Jayhawk and I feel pretty comfortable to actually take this thing apart and upgrade the internal storage if we want. I mean, 1 terabyte, like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
And the 1 terabyte SD card also has like transfer speeds that Jayhawk got into, and I kind of glossed over.
You're just like,
so-
yes.
Okay, I get it. I get more
Yeah.
storage. I get it. But then I played Elden Ring on the Switch, using the Switch, and
The Switch.
the deck. And if you can look here, the backside here, this is the only portion of the deck that gets hot at all, right? So when you're holding it to play, The
Your
heat
hands don't get
doesn't
hot.
touch it. It's really cool. And I will say that playing Elden Ring really pumps the battery down. Like you actively can like watch the ticker. Like it says like estimated time 2 hours, but you can watch the numbers go down faster than 60 seconds. But that's just
Oh yeah.
that's just what it is. It was one of the kind of the shortcomings is like a battery for this guy. But I mean, you play this thing for a couple hours in your hand, maybe you set it down. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it is.
I would
plan
say
on. Yeah. Go ahead.
if you can get like a plane ride out of it, that would be the goal.
Yeah.
Like
And
an
then
average. plane ride.
Also, I personally wouldn't be putting like. I mean, I'd love to put Elden Ring on it if it would give me a full plane ride, but I'd more likely be playing like Oxygen Not Included on it, something really simplistic.
Oh, like Stardew Valley or something.
Stardew Valley,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Terraria.
It's actually pretty quiet, which is really good. Obviously a little bit of audible noise, but if you're wearing headphones, the other people in the subway or the airplane, they're gonna hear it.
Yeah, that's
Which is
their
not-
problem.
It's not it's not even that loud, okay? But but I digress. I really like it. The grips on this thing are good, but I feel like my big hands. I feel like if it was just a little bit thicker, like where my fingers were here instead of here, because when I get to playing, my fingers want to claw, so I can hit this top button. But like it's just, I gotta find that spot because it's not perfect.
Yeah.
It's strangely comfortable for the size that it is. These curved edges are actually pretty nice, but it's just not, especially for Elden Ring or a Souls-like game where you want to be able to hit these top buttons pretty quick. I feel like it's just not exactly where I want it, but it's probably just growing pains because it's brand new.
A question I have. I know you
console.
only got to play with it a little bit. Did you try hooking up like a USB hub and plugging in like a mouse or anything to it yet?
I have not.
How about
Or do
the
it.
button wise? They feel pretty solid though, at least like controller layout and everything. Like where the analog sticks are.
Yeah, the ABXY buttons remind me a lot of the like Xbox controller. Like they're real bubbly. They're nice and thick. The D-pad on the left hand side, it's kind of awkwardly placed. I find myself trying to reach down because I'm used to the Xbox.
Is it as awkward as like the Switch though?
No, God,
Yeah,
no.
the Switch itself.
Oh, terrible. Terrible.
Kinda-
I have caught myself squeezing here, which are the back bumper buttons.
Okay.
Look at that oil. Ugh. These back bumper buttons. I was playing. Luckily, this button is drink an Estus flask, and this button is dodge. So that was.
So you're rolling while drinking.
Yeah, so that was interesting. Yeah, all in all, I'm super excited to dive deeper into it, and I've talked about it more than I really planned. So
Yeah, overall, I mean, it sounds really cool. I'm actually excited to see. I mean, I'm sure it really isn't going to have too much of an influence on the Nintendo side of things because if they
Nintendo's
have,
in their own bubble.
yeah, they're in their own bubble, and if they have a Switch 2 or whatever it would be called, I'm sure it's already like past the point where they'd be making big changes and whatnot to, after seeing that. So, I think it's something Nintendo not that they really have to worry because Nintendo has Nintendo games, but honestly,
It's definitely something in the same ballpark.
yeah, it's the same ballpark. And what I would say that it probably affects the most is if PlayStation ever decided to try to go back to the mobile side with like the Vita.
Oh, give me a new PS Vita.
Yeah, if they were like, hey, you know what? It's gonna be kind of hard because I mean, Steam has a lot of games, and
So let me combat that, right? You say the Switch doesn't have equal competition, but for somebody like me, if I had not purchased a Switch or a deck and I was looking at both of them, even right now, with the limited games that are actually like perfectly compatible with the deck, I'm thinking I can emulate all my favorite Nintendo games.
Yeah.
This thing's really cheap. Why would I not just get that and just omit Nintendo?
No, I 100% agree. I think the Steam Deck is by far better than the Switch. It's just if you want like Breath of the
First-party
Wild
games.
or the newest Mario Kart,
Right.
whatever.
Anything for the Switch, basically.
Yeah,
'cause
if
the
you
Switch
want,
isn't emulatable yet.
yeah.
Mhm.
I mean they're working on it and whatnot, but for the sense of it,
Yeah.
the newest
one
games
thing-
are going to be emulated as well.
Yeah, one thing I do want to try out is the Xbox gaming app is accessible through the web, so I'm wondering how well I could access those games and play them on the deck.
Oh,
We're
like
gonna have
Game
to
Pass?
experiment. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
It's something we're gonna come back to, especially whenever mine comes in.
Yeah. I'm sure it should be able to, because I mean, if it's technically just a PC,
Yeah, it'd be the same
so
thing.
Yeah, it should. It
Can't
should.
imagine
Should.
it would.
Anyways, let's roll on.
Yeah, let's get
Into
into
the meat and potatoes.
yeah the main topic of Elden Ring. So it came out and well, Bravo was away. He went on vacation.
I was basically away.
Yeah, Joe was counting down the actual minutes, and I was hanging out, and I was like, I'll be patient. I got this physical version coming in, and then it didn't come in for 3 days. So I just bought it digital. I literally bought it digitally, and I went and returned the physical copy.
Wow.
So for now, I have the digital one. But I've been playing, and I think honestly, me being out in the middle of nowhere, unless like I take the day off or can somehow get out there, I'm gonna have to probably double dip into the games I want day one, which aren't too many, so it's not a big deal. So it's like you're looking at Resident Evil, Elden Ring,
Silent Hill.
if Silent, yeah, please,
I'm pretty sure if Silent Hill gets announced, I'm just taking like a week off.
yeah,
It's like I'll see you
please.
guys later.
And then also like God of War is probably the only one next that's coming up that I would probably pre-order on digital. But anyways, nonetheless, so yeah, Joe hopped in. Joe is how many hours are you deep into this bad boy now? Give a reference for people.
Pushing 50.
Mm-hmm.
A lot.
Yeah. So
In the
Jo-
first 2 days, I was at like 28 hours.
yeah, he was hardcore in it. It was nuts. Bravo, you're pretty. Actually, you have a lot more hours in it than I expected because you got kind of a late start, and you told me I was like, oh, dang, putting in them hours.
Well, I had a pretty good excuse. The end of my vacation ended poorly because the airline canceled my flight, and then I had to drive home from the location I was at. So I told my boss, I was like, hey, I'm physically jet lagged from a van drive, so I'm just gonna take another day. So I took another day and a half off, basically, to play Elden Ring, and got a lot of hours into it. And even at work, I was just like, I could just take the day off. I basically took the whole week. I mean, I could just take another day and a half off.
What's another day again?
Yeah. I don't know how we want to jump into this thing.
Okay. All right. So let's go in with our beginning impressions. First area, walking out into the world. Thoughts through like the little training area it gave you. What were we expecting when we first walked through the door and seen the Erd tree?
All right, I'll talk about kind of my adventure up to it. So I chose for literally first impression wise, I chose I don't know what it's called, the mage class, because I was excited about the magic skills, and then my main character is the wretched one, whatever the one that starts with literally nothing. because I wanted to do melee when I had no commitment. So, but walking through the training area, honestly, I didn't. So you walk out, you fight that one thing that kills you like every Souls game. Then you get slapped down into the actual training area. You go through. I mean, it didn't really have any effect until you walk outside and you actually see the tree and the environment and stuff, and it slaps you in the face with how pretty the artwork is. Artistic design of the game is like insane, I feel. So I think it's a very pretty game by far.
Yes.
And that it's overwhelming. Put it this way, I missed the first, like, we're still calling it bonfires, I don't care. I missed the first bonfire literally because I was too busy looking at the environment and running around the building, and I went straight forward. And then Joe was like, I literally was like, I'm already.
I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go.
I was literally overwhelmed. I was so
like
overwhelmed.
the guy literally tells you where to go.
He told me,
he's like,
but
guy.
Yeah, I didn't see him. Absolutely did not. I was so overwhelmed. I was looking and I was like, oh my god, this place goes on forever. So it's insane how many directions you can go in that one first little area. I missed like 4 different things in that area. I probably still have. There's probably more things that I missed too. So, all right. What about you guys? Whoever wants to go next.
Bravo. Tell us about your class and your experience here.
I traditionally have picked the class with the scimitar, and this one has the warrior, which comes with 2, which is really cool. So I went with that guy, and rolled out. Same thing. It's such a beautiful game, and immediately like did a perimeter walk of that little area, and I was like, okay, there's no secrets here, so I'm gonna venture out. I'm gonna trim the edge of
then
the
you
thing.
take 2 steps out and do a 2-step bigger circle.
Yeah. So I found the tree guardian. What's his name? The tree sentinel.
Yep.
Yeah, the tree sentinel. And I was like, oh, I've been playing a whole lot of Dark Souls. Oh my god. And I died.
Please.
I died real quick. I'm like, I'm going to come back to you. I'm going to come because this is an open world. I see what you're doing from software. You're like, hey, maybe don't fight this guy level 1. Maybe go venture off.
Maybe come back, fight him level 60 like you're supposed to.
Yeah, maybe do that.
It's definitely typical of them.
So I ventured off. Yeah, ventured off. Found myself a nice little dungeon. Fought a couple dogs. Fought the boss in there. It was really cool. And the adventure began. And I've been enthralled ever since. I will say that the lack of hand holding is nice. I was worried I was gonna have to get like a notebook out because there's no directions, no quest pointers, there's none of that. You might get one because the mini map shows you kind of a general direction where to go, but it's really not that bad. Maybe because I'm paying attention more.
You just haven't got to where you need to. It'll come.
Because I've gotten direction. I know where the the shards of the ring thing are, and all kinds of stuff. I just feel like I'm grasping it well.
Yeah. It's definitely not as bad as I expected it to be.
Yeah. I agree.
It's a good thing. It's not holding your hand, but it's not like you better take some notes, okay?
It is nice, just to kind of follow with what he's saying real quick. It is nice because if you get to a point maybe where you're like, you know what, I'm not feeling this right now. There's so much that you could just kind of go off and do whatever. So you don't have to just keep going that main line. Literally do whatever.
Yeah, one bad thing about the lack of hand holding is there's no repeat, right? So this happened to me today. I was talking to a merchant and he was giving me some background stuff that I'm super interested in, and I was in the Discord with 8 other people, and I'm listening to the guy and somebody calls my name and I talk to them and I missed a sentence that he said, and I was like, dang it. There's no way to go back to that.
That's
figure
I
out
mean,
what he was saying.
that's definitely an issue amongst a lot of games, though.
yeah.
Or you sneeze like me and you hit the button too many times.
Yeah. So
Just skip
another
it.
thing I like is my roommate is playing the game and he went off a completely different tangent to me, and like did the game a completely different way than probably any of us even thought of, because he's hardcore and kind of crazy. But his interaction with characters was different than mine because he hit certain places first and then came back around. I thought that was really cool. And I just have like that unique perspective that he has versus what I saw. And I'm sure you guys have the exact same thing, maybe just a little bit different. You talk to one person first or the next or whatever. I thought that was cool.
Well, before Bravo keeps going on different little rants, I chose the samurai class for one reason and one reason only: the Uchigatana. It's my favorite Souls weapon, and the fact that they're giving it to me right off the bat, bone apple tea. But so we all made it a point to see next to nothing for this game because basically FromSoft announces a game and we're all just like, yep, pre-ordered. So went in, got into the game, and I must have pressed. I got it on PS5, as did Brad. Brad was playing on PC, so I pressed X a million times to try to do things like open doors and open chests and pick up items, and
Oh yeah.
up in the air I go. And like
I do that all the time.
And I'm like, what?
Here's the weird
I'm 50
thing.
hours in, and I still do it.
I call it my victory jump, right? Like I beat a guy and he drops an item and I'm like, I walk up to him to pick it and I go, "Ee."
I've actually gotten used to it finally. And I've gotten used to it, and then for specifically this podcast, I threw in Demon Souls quickly, and I'm like, I'm broken now. I can't. I keep dual wheel.
The jump is too important.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But yeah, the jump caught me off guard really heavily. But I really liked the intro. It felt kind of a little bit too cheesy, and the fact that I felt like there wasn't a fair chance to beat the first guy. Whereas typically the other games give you a little bit more of a chance, like for instance Sekiro and whatnot.
Yeah.
But regardless, the tutorial area was really bad. I did not like the tutorial
I didn't like
area.
it either. Yeah.
It was like way too easy, and
Yeah.
I don't know if was only playing with 2 brain cells because I was just like overjoyed with being able to play the game. But I was going through the tutorial. I didn't understand how to dual wield a weapon, so I spent like 30 minutes standing there trying to figure it out. I streamed everything of what I was playing for the first few days on Twitch, just to have a little bit of video action for it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I spent way too much time that because I didn't actually read the messages that popped up. The first boss literally was like 3 hits in the tutorial area, and I'm like, what is even the point? And then you get through it, and it's like, here is a emote. And I'm like, God, I still don't know how to use emotes in the game. It doesn't make sense to
You
me.
hold triangle and you do the motion gesture, or you go into.
So I hold triangle to call my horse, and I end up like taunting and getting killed is what happens.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
What you got to do is you got to get the art of laying down correctly when somebody swings at you. Go into a little pose.
Yeah.
But I walked out into the world and I literally, as soon as midnight hit, just cut all communication with everybody until the next day, and walked out into the world and like visibly out loud, and it's beautiful. And as a player, I like the challenge of Dark Souls, so I didn't do too much exploring because as a open world gaming player, I have a bad habit of doing everything in the world besides the main quest line, and then doing the main quest line and one-shotting all the bosses and ruining the game for myself. So I didn't do that. I stuck to the main line, and yeah, I didn't have nearly as much trouble as Brad finding the first bonfire because I walked out and was like, huh, what's all this glowing stuff?
I was in awe, man. I was looking around. I didn't even look down. I was looking up at that tree. I was like, look at this tree over
But I don't know how far you guys have made it into the game, but from this point forward, there's probably going to be spoilers for anybody listening who doesn't want to hear it. So keep that
Yeah.
in mind if you're going to go forward. But outside of the opening, which most people pretty much know what happens, things are
Yeah.
going to start getting a little more meat and potatoes here.
Yeah.
So we're probably gonna have some spoilers for each other, some minor spoilers for each other, just because we've done things different.
So
But first question is, have either of you gotten a greater rune?
Yes.
yeah.
Have you gotten 2?
Yes.
Okay, I've only gotten
No.
1.
I've only
Have you gotten
one.
3?
I've
No,
only
Brad,
gotten
you
1.
do have 2. Or you
So-
lied to me.
Unless
You either have 2 or you lied to me.
Oh, I do.
oh,
Yes.
you liar.
Which one? What are you saying?
You got one from the boss that I said had the gat.
Oh, I didn't beat that one.
You told me you did.
No. I went and ventured off, and I found like 5 other bosses to fight that I've
Okay.
killed.
So, Bravo, how far have you made it? Like, what was the last boss you fought? Mainline boss, if
Godric.
okay, Godric being the first greater rune.
Yep.
Right, and I beat the Fell of Omen or whatever.
Yeah, Margit.
Margit.
Margit,
Yeah, that's an
yeah.
interesting name.
Old Margit. Margit
so-
is
Let's talk
Stupid.
about Margit
yeah.
because he is a heck of an entrance for a lot of new players who got into Elden Ring because of the hype.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
I just want to say, whenever me and Brad were playing through it, it was like 20% of people made it
Mhm.
past him, and
It
it was
was-
like 3 days deep.
I felt really good about myself because I do not like right now the last trophy I just popped, only 15% of people have it. So I'm feeling decent about myself right now. But yeah, I will say big applause to everybody playing the game because like I think right now it's close to 50% have beaten him now, which I'm actually
Wow.
kind of amazed because
Yeah, it's
that dude's
not
tough.
easy.
That dude is tough.
Yeah,
Um,
I didn't have a Souls background before going into it, I probably wouldn't have made it past
Oh
for
no,
quite a bit.
yeah, it would have been basically grind out until you can kill him in a couple hits because
Yeah, just get
Mhm.
over leveled.
he's tough.
So
There's
just
definitely
for
a lot of
reference-
mechanics.
Yeah, for reference, on Steam right now, Margit has a 61% players defeat, and Godric has 45% players have defeated. So that's kind of the difference here.
Yeah,
Being the first and second mainline bosses are Margit
Right.
and then Godric.
mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
But
So
Margit was one of the most fun fights I've had in quite a while. Even though I messaged you guys literally raging at like 6 o'clock in the morning.
I've had a freaking blast fighting every single boss I've fought in this game. I love it. I love every single mechanic. Even minor bosses have the coolest like animations or their abilities or like I don't know. I'm just enthralled by how cool the world is and how the characters are acting and the effort put into it. Like Margit is like a demon shinobi looking dude, and like he seems to be like this regal, like well-knowing kind of like a knight that's gone bad or something, and it is a freaking slog, and I really enjoyed the whole fight. And Godric, yeah, I mean, you should have heard me in the Discord. Like I was losing my crap because I was really close to death fighting him, and I ended up pulling out a W pretty early in the fight, actually, or pretty early in like the trials. But every
So-
single fight, I just think are so cool.
Margaret, I believe, Margaret probably took me a good, I don't know, 25 or so attempts, roughly. It was a good amount. And then Godric, it was 10 and under, somewhere. It was, I can't remember exactly. It was probably close to like the 7 to 10, right around there. Took me a couple attempts. I I honestly feel like, and maybe it's story related or whatnot. I feel like they should just swap those two bosses.
I agree.
If they swap
difficulty
those,
wise, they definitely should have been swapped.
yeah, just if they swap them, I feel like because Godric was significantly easier. Like
I beat Godric on my second time fighting him. First
Yeah.
time I got to second phase and got insta-gibbed.
Yep.
And then second time, I think I used one Estus.
that was
Yeah.
that was me too. First time I got him to the second phase, I actually got him. I think he was down to only had 25% of his health left, and I was like, "Holy crap, I'm gonna do it!" And then after that, I kept choking.
The first time I fought him, I took the warrior chick, and I popped Slugworth, my
Squidward.
Ash.
Squidward, my jellyfish, immediately because I was like, this is gonna be the hardest fight I've ever done in my life. So I popped those in
After
there.
that first one, you're just like, oh no, not again.
And I get in there, and it was the most epic battle I've ever had because I was freaking out because I never saw any of these moves before. And I didn't know who was throwing lightning or who was throwing wind. I just knew there was like elements clashing between those two, and I was off to the side, getting in there, stabbing and stuff, and my jelly's like shooting him and whatnot. I got him down to the GO. Like, Godric, GO. Like, it was the smallest sliver, and he was like, how about a hammer to the face? How about that, son? And, like, both of my NPCs were still alive. All I had to do was just step back, but I was like, no way.
I need the finishing
Yeah,
blow.
no way I'm going to let Squidward freaking kill him for me, you know? So I jump in there,
I
and he
would
was like, "Rakoosh!"
I was like, please, if like I was using the dogs mainly, as a summon, and I just like the speed of that they were, so they can get up there and just kind of distract them mainly.
They also stun lock pretty easily in a lot of enemies.
Yeah, they definitely helped. I really only use the summons when it's like boss time if I have to.
I have used the summons once, and it was for the Margit fight, the first big boss.
I enjoy using the summons out in the open world just because I'm like, I fought these guys before or whatever. I'm like, dogs,
Yeah.
sick 'em,
When I'm-
you know.
Yeah, so I have ones now. They're archers. I don't know if Bravo. You haven't seen them yet.
I have not.
So
I have 3.
there's like this
Four. I
archer
have 4.
one that I have, and I actually
Is
have
it the cagey guys?
yes, and I basically use those to like farm stuff because they're nutty.
They pew 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 pew.
Yeah, that's the gat. They got the gat.
No, that great crossbow I found is
Yeah.
the gat.
But yeah, so other than that stuff, I think I just like forget about it because I get like so like tunnel visioned in what I'm doing. Like Joe was watching me because I was streaming it as well. He wanted to see me. I get so tunnel visioned, I forget that there's a freaking horse half the time. And
Brad played like the first 5 hours of this game on foot,
oh yeah,
and I'm just
100%.
like, God, you're just running through a field. Just get on the horse.
Oh yeah, I 100% did. I was loving it though.
I'm using every tool. Like I'm loving the horse combat.
The horse combat's grown on me.
Yeah,
So.
like whenever those like Viking barbarian-esque warriors with like the fur coats and whatnot, whenever I find them on horseback, it's almost like a magnet. Like I have to do it. Where we're just like crossing, like you know, enemies back in the day or something. You know, we're just like swinging at the right time and dodging. It's great. I'm enjoying it.
Torrent is really cool. I don't love it. There's some mechanics with the horse that aren't as good. Like the combat feels smooth, but I run into the issue when you get knocked off the horse and you're on the ground and have no way to do anything. And you're there for like 5 seconds and you're able to be hit. I must have died 80% of my deaths that come in any horse fight because of that feature, and it drives me up the wall.
It's strange because sometimes I'm like, I don't even know how I got off the horse. Like I thought the horse died. I'm just like,
but the horse didn't die.
Yeah, it didn't
and
die.
You're just like off the horse, and you call it back without having to use an Estus charge. And you're like, if you're not dead, why are you? And why am I getting blown up?
There was I've had it actually numerous times where I've gotten knocked off it, but I didn't fall down. Like I landed on my feet, and I'm like, I don't know what happened, and then I instant call the horse back.
Well, I've
Continue on
been
my way.
knocked. The horse has its own health bar.
Yeah.
If the horse dies, like I often enough get knocked down on my feet, but like Joe said, it's probably closer to like 2 or 3 seconds, but it feels like 5, and you just like phase down.
See, that's not what I like. I physically get knocked, like I'm laying on the ground.
Yeah,
And, you know, typically in Dark Souls, when you're on the ground, you don't take damage, just like an enemy can't take damage. Well, in this game, you can, but they can't, and it drives me up a wall.
The enemy not taking damage, I feel like the window is almost too long as well.
It's different. Yeah,
It's
they have to be
very long.
completely up.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
It doesn't feel good. That's like my biggest gripe with the horse mechanic, I think, and that like has put a sour taste in my mouth across the entire horse mechanic to me.
mhm.
But
yeah.
I don't have the I'll watch it closer now, but I don't have the like knocking on your booty kind of a thing. Like I'm pretty sure I get knocked on my feet more than
I'll have to go through
Yeah.
my stream and get some spoiler-free clips for you,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
just show you like
I've
how often it
definitely-
happens, because I can give you a montage.
Yeah, I've definitely got knocked on my butt before, so I know what he's talking about. But
Okay.
I guess the only thing I feel like with the horses, it feels kind of cheesy sometimes. Because like I like the actual like normal combat, but
Yeah.
then like with Joe gave me the tip actually, because the first big giant you run into, the one with the guts
Mhm.
kind of showing or whatever, or stomach's missing. So he gave a tip, hey, try to use the horse. That was all he literally said. And then I was like, oh, makes total sense. You know, you're a lot quicker, you can move around, whatnot. So, but then I'm realizing you could freaking do this to little guys too, and you're just swiping at them and everything.
That's the advantage of horseback combat. though.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, it feels fine. Like I like it, but then sometimes I'm like, it feels kind of cheesy. Like there's some enemies that were real tough, and I'm like, oh, look at this. Now I can just cruise right on by, run in a little circle. I'm swiping them down.
Yep.
Without
I
any
think
real
that's
challenge.
Yeah, I think that's the passion for Dark Souls coming out. You know, like
Yeah,
I feel the cheese, right? But I also enjoy doing it. But sometimes I just get off and I fight them regular. You know.
Yeah, I like the horse v horse fights
yes.
more than I like the horse v enemy fights.
I noticed that myself. Like you run into that first guy right in the area.
Yep.
I
The tree sentinel.
Yep, like him, and then there's also the regular enemy too. That's like right by that little right by the giant that
Yep.
comes down. There's
Yep.
also like those guys I do like fighting, for example, on horse.
And literally, when I knock them off the horse, I literally jump off my horse and fight them on the ground.
Going over and slap
Same. So one more benefit, and I think we should get to some negatives here, is I really like how the speed of attacks change even amongst individual creatures, right? So let's just, I don't want to talk about him. The little goblin guys, they're really early into they're like one of the first dungeons, little bitty
Mhm.
goblin dudes, and they have a
Inflict
slow
bleed.
yeah, they have a slow attack, which is real slow. Like they come out and they eventually swipe, right? So it gets you off guard. And then they have a super fast attack. And every single character almost seems to have like this variation of speed that keeps you on your toes. It makes the combat feel really well. And I'm not saying that that's anything new, but I'm saying that I like the variation from the very beginning of the game to 20 hours in where I'm at. It just seems like every character's got its own thing and you have to learn it. And I'm enjoying kind of remembering back to Demon Souls, Dark Souls, where I was first learning how to do that, you know, how to combat characters and like look for quirks, and like when the hand twists, you know it's about to come down, you know, stuff like that. Like I'm really enjoying like getting to know that again from hindsight, you know, from experience. It's really fun.
There's one thing I noticed about this game, and comparing to Dark Souls 3 and all the other Souls games, Bloodborne, a lot of the pacing was always pretty stagnant in attacks. and there was one enemy boss in particular in Dark Souls 3, the Nameless King, which gave people a ton of trouble. It's considered like the hardest boss in Dark Souls up to nowadays with Elden Ring. But the boss had how do I word this? The boss would hesitate attacks. So, like, it would just hold it there instead of just like, and then swing. It would just be like, and then swing. And everybody would dodge, and then they'd get hit, like, after the first dodge. And this game is like, oh, Nameless King was hard, huh? How about they all do it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know
But-
if they have it programmed to, like, sometimes dodge or sometimes hold it or whatever, but I think that's so
I think
cool.
they so with Margaret specifically, I know that there's a move that he does that's delayed, but then he also does it quick. And it's,
Yeah, he's got... yeah.
it's the
They're
same.
almost identical.
Yeah, it's almost
Mhm.
exactly the same, and he always slaps me. Also,
Yeah, I ended up going naked to fight him because that way I had enough time to like double roll with between the quick and the fast one.
Yeah.
from-
Yeah, I stripped down to my original gear, which was like the blue outfit to fight him. It was good.
yeah, I think
He
I had
was-
a
I
leveling up.
used ashes and the summon for him, and I felt I'm not shaming anybody who likes their summons. All right, I'm not a person who enjoys them, and I felt very displeased with myself having to rely on a summon. That's the first boss in any Souls game I've had to do
Yeah.
that.
I definitely want to go back and just like no summons whatsoever.
Yeah, well,
You know,
I
beat
know
the
I could
game.
do it now. I know I can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. What I mean, other than obviously the horseback stuff, I feel like, overall, the game feels pretty amazing. I guess we're gonna get into like like a few negative things that I'm sure we all have.
Let's do some negatives that way we can come back up the hill.
The
before we
positives.
end.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
this is my thing, and this goes along with the negatives that I feel. I do not understand what happened from the reviewer standpoints at all.
So
I feel like the
I've
game
been-
got
yeah.
review bombed in the opposite way. Like, from like it
It's a
just,
little bloated.
yeah, everybody just threw out tens for some reason. I don't know why, and it's like, I get it. It's a very fun game. Nobody's saying that it's not, but it's definitely not.
It
like
has
a-
problems.
Yeah, it's definitely not perfect. And like even literally just this simple fact, Bravo plays it on PC, and he cannot for the life of him get the game to not stutter. And it's been essentially a week. The game's been out. Actually, it's been a week. And that alone to me, like if I was like, some of these reviewers had to be playing on PC, and it's like, dude, you can you're gonna just overlook that. And even on PS5, it's like it's significantly better, but there's definitely some frame skips and whatnot. Like it's not solid. And
I've had one frame drop my entire playthrough.
I've had a
50 hours.
few that were
Yeah.
like not. I'm not saying they were like super noticeable, but I was like, I could tell it just wasn't as smooth as some other areas. Like there's a lot of stuff going on and whatever, and I was just like, oh, it didn't change the experience for me. Where Bravo was literally like having it actually affect
So
him.
I fought the tree sentinel solely from horseback because fighting it on foot was impossible. And I came back around probably like level, I don't know, 15 or 20 to fight him. Had torrent, I had the Uchigatana, I believe, and we just duked it out. No, I used the flail. Anyways, but the tree sentinel is the worst character to fight with the current situation around the game. And I've seen a couple of different rumor mill stuff, a couple of different opinions, and it comes down to this. People think that it's From Software's first time working with this type of physics, like the DirectX stuff. Something's wrong with the way that it
It is DirectX
processes
12.
yeah, the way that it
Every other game is
processes
11 or before.
information. Yeah, because I don't lose a single frame. The game itself, the time in the game, slows down, moves one instance at a time, or like, slower than what normal speed would be until it catches back up with itself. So, when you fight the Tree Sentinel, the worst character for this problem, the Tree Sentinel will come at you. He's got his halberd ready to go, and then suddenly, boom, he catches up with you. And it's like he moves twice as fast for like, let's say like 2 seconds. So it's like impossible to dodge. And it's a targeted attack, so if you run around him, he's going to turn to hit you. So it's like really hard to dodge. It seems to be the only problem in like open world combat. So fighting the creature at the lake, or fighting sometimes the giants that are out roaming, like anything that's like all like really encompassing just seems to just tank the performance. Now, I will say this. It's okay to give an imperfect game a perfect score, because I found this quote that I sent the guys. But basically, you can give an imperfect game a perfect score because the score reflects your recommendation. The thing that I don't appreciate is the fact that they completely omitted that comment from their review, right? You can say, I give this game a 10 out of 10. You absolutely have to play this game. But these problems, right? Like these problems on PC or whatever. And I don't think that they're going to let these problems fly. I've even heard from some guys that did an early review that the game's performance actually tanked after the day one patch. I don't know how true that is, but if that's true, they actually did give an honest review. Now I think that's got some, little asterisks.
Yeah,
like that's pretty convenient.
It's possible, but it's unlikely.
But so I'm gonna keep that in mind. Like as far as like my score for the game, because I'm obviously, like I said, enthralled by the game.
Yeah.
But the performance issues aren't so bad that it makes me want to stop. And
No.
I believe they're gonna fix them.
Yeah, they're definitely gonna fix them, and I'm not saying that you. I agree with you. You could definitely give a game a 10 out of 10 that isn't perfect, because I am a firm believer that there isn't a perfect game. I mean, my favorite game of all time, I wouldn't even rank higher than this game. I still put Diablo 2 above this game, even though I would give this game a higher rating than Diablo 2. But it's like personal opinion.
Right.
It's
like
just
tailored to you.
Yeah, and it's like the rose-tinted glasses from when I was 10 years old. It's just that. But when it comes to this, I think the game is, very near perfect for a Souls fan. Like basically, if you're a Souls fan, you have to play it. You really do. If it's into you. My buddy, for example, he is not, and I was trying my hardest. And I was trying so hard to get him to buy it day one because I wanted just another person, and he's like, I just can't do it. I can't bring myself to drop $60 on a game that I'm not even going to
torture me.
Where I'm not even going to be the first boss. Like he just doesn't understand the mechanics. He doesn't have the patience and whatnot. He's a person where he wants to feel overpowered and be, killing things.
Instant gratification.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Like he wants those type of games. So
he wants to be the hero of the story, not the tarnished of the story.
Yeah. So anyways, let's we'll get into more stuff. That was just my little comment, I guess, on the scores. But let's Joe, I know he's got some stuff. He's gonna have the most because he's obviously played it the most. So let's hear him out, and we can kind of
let me bust out my notebook here. No, but I do have like a laundry list of complaints, some small, some bigger. My main complaint with the game: bosses are reused so damn much. It makes me not want to fight them. So like I literally have fought one boss the exact same. I'm talking like we know Dark Souls. All right, the first one. You fight the demons. You got the Asylum demon, you got the other two demons. They're the same model. One has a little bit more fiery stuff on them, but they're all different in their own way. So like you have the Chaos demon, which obviously is fire and the catalyst, And then you have the Asylum Demon, which is basically just a bonk fest because it's. But whatever. They're different, but they're still the same. That's
Mhm.
okay. This game, no. They are the same boss. I have fought the same boss 8 times now.
Are these like
All bosses. These are
are
not
these
just like thrown in the world like they.
like dungeon bosses?
Yes and no.
Oh,
Like
man.
both.
Hmm.
But 8 times I'm up to. I've been counting at this point because I find it absurd.
Hmm.
There's really cool bosses in this game. And then there's like even the ones that I'm fighting 8 times. The first time I fought one, I was like, this is probably the coolest boss in all the Souls, period. And then I fought it a second time and I'm like, okay, it's not as cool the second time, but it's still cool. And then the third time I was like, all right, guys, let's not make this a thing, right? And then the fourth time and I'm like, they're making it a thing. And then the fifth time it's like, again, and it just keeps going down.
See, you were
And,
the
like,
only one that thought it was cool from Soft, or thought it was real cool.
Yeah, apparently.
You're like, let me show you this boss. This is real cool.
But it's multiple like different enemies, and then there's like the cave ones. So we've all fought the cat dog.
Yep.
I fought him 3 times.
Cat dog.
Imagine if
No
it was
different
actually
moves.
Cat Dog. they made the model after Cat Dog.
But like no different moves.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like I know I could beat it. It's not a challenge. I mean, I just run through them and don't get hit. It's not fun though. Like
Mm.
I lose interest
Yeah.
in that. And another so like it would be different if they were just like the cave bosses, I think, but they're not. So Bravo, you talked about the swamp creature. Are we talking about the same big one?
The one at the lake?
The lake.
Oh, the tentacle creature?
No. I was talking about the swamp like just east of where you come out of the
the. Okay, are you calling the lake the swamp?
Are you talking?
is it right by where you come out?
You come
like-
out, it's starting area.
There's like ruins.
Okay, there's a
You-
tree sentinel.
Yep.
There's ruins in the lake, and then there's a dragon.
Yes.
You talking
The
about
dragon,
the dragon?
is what I'm referencing.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I didn't want
Yeah,
to spoil that. If
That's what the creature that I said. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the dragon. All right. Dragons have been in Dark Souls since Demon Souls. Like it's a common thing. This game has 2 dragons. And I've fought about it has to be about 10 of them I run into now. There's 2 different ones. But
Oh,
they do for the one model of them actually change like elements. Essentially they change the color of what they do.
I saw the other one actually.
Yeah.
Finally.
Well, that's not the other one. That's the same dragon model. The one that has the big horn on the nose.
hmm
It's one model. They change it up. It's fine because it's a little bit different. Like I take that less as being repetitive, but it's literally the exact same.
Yeah.
Animals, beasts, I could actually be pretty lenient with because like zebras, they're all relatively the same, right? So
Yeah.
like a dragon, like all relatively the same. I haven't ran into the bosses yet. I don't really look forward to that.
Yeah.
There's even
think
like
I think
human ones.
I completely agree with you. Like if it was just dungeon bosses like Cat Dog, sure. It's Cat Dog, he like guards the graveyard or whatever.
Yeah, like they make a
Whatever,
bunch of
yeah.
different gargoyles. They put gargoyles
Yeah.
throughout all their catacombs, whatever. But it's like it's in this little side area that has its own little quest line. You fight this boss, and then you go fight it in a cave, and then you fight it in the main storyline, and then you fight it like in a catacombs, and you're just like, where the hell isn't this guy? Like he's everywhere.
Yeah.
How many times? How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man?
Yeah, and I think for me, I think it would be acceptable if there was a canonical reason, like if it was like some magical knight, you know, some suit
Yep.
of armor or something.
But it's not.
But yeah,
Another big complaint I have, I don't want to say big, but it's a complaint, and I think it needs to be patched. I backstab a lot in these games. I play a dex build, I move around quick, I get behind them, I backstab. Well, in this game, I'm going to say 30% of the time you get into the backstab animation, and the enemy just is like, "Huh, you thought," takes a step, turns around, and just wipes you out while you're in the middle of the backstab animation.
Oh,
You do
wow.
no damage to them. It just doesn't affect them at all. But you're
Wow.
stuck in the backstab animation, like you stab into nothing, you kick off, and your character is just like open to be hit the whole time, and you're not backstabbing an enemy. It's just like, am I like on the edge where I'm triggering it for my character but not them, or is this like a feature? If it is, it's a really bad one.
No,
Or I
that sounds
wonder,
like a bug.
yeah, I wonder if it's a bug with the weapon. You know,
It's
I mean,
possible. I've had it happen a lot.
yeah, I have not ran into that once. Not that I backstab a ton, but
Same as Brad. Like, I haven't ran into it, but I don't do a whole lot of backstabbing.
Yeah.
Most times
I've
it's just with bosses.
recently been backstabbing more just because the area that I was in, I was like farming up some souls, and
Yeah.
it just was
Speeds things
sneak up. Yeah, it speeds up, sneak up behind him, backstab. Haven't had it happen once, but like I said, I mean, you know,
Mm-hmm.
it's not my primary way I've played the game, so I'm kind of wondering. I wonder if it is just the weapon. You know,
It's possible. I've had it happen with 2 weapons. I
Hmm.
use the Uchi Katana as my primary, and then I have a Claymore upgraded as well for like my heavy weapon.
okay.
But I've had it happen with both,
Hmm.
and it's really frustrating to be like locked in an animation
Yeah.
that you're like should lock your enemy in too, and it just doesn't, and then you get hit. And like I've died multiple times based on
Yeah,
that.
that's terrible.
That's definitely strange.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's something that gets patched out.
I'm sure it
Maybe
will.
it is a bug, and I probably should report it, but I haven't. But it's something that like gets me to a point where I'm sitting there and I'm start MFing and ready to throw a controller. I don't actually throw the controller, but it ticks you off, especially whenever you're like 20 minutes deep in a run and like there's probably a bonfire in one of those rooms up there and you die to like the last guy because of that stupid thing.
Mhm.
But it is what it is. I mean, there's going to be bugs with any game. I mean, it's been a thing since the beginning of video games at this point. But
Yeah.
what other complaints do I have? I noticed it's a pretty common thing in this game that base enemies are harder than some of the bosses.
Some of the base
It-
enemies are nutty. I've
Yeah,
noticed
so
that.
I'm gonna use words that you two aren't gonna understand, but will make sense to some people who are farther in the game. The Zora ruins, the Zora enemies. They're some of the most ridiculous enemies in the game. Like just fight straight up without just spamming jump attack on them.
Mhm.
My
And then
specialty.
you like get to the boss of the area, and then you like first try them, and you're just like,
Hmm.
what? And then there's other areas that's like, oh, we've been fighting this same enemy, but now it has 10,000 HP instead of 100 since the beginning of the game. And we don't change anything else, but, you know, whatever. And then there's obviously the Dark Souls 2 mentality where they're like, the game's not hard enough. How about instead of fighting one boss, you fight 2? And you beat that, and you're like, how about instead of fighting 2 bosses, you fight 3? And I'm just sitting there like, please just give me something to 1v1 and make it this big grand fight. You can make it hard. Margit was amazing. Give me more Margit fights.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But no, they're just like, oh, well, here's an enemy that summons other enemies that you have to fight. And it's like, please, God, don't do this.
Yeah.
And I just want to say, last to end it off, God damn it, Miyazaki, stop giving us poison swamps. That man, I must have run into like 9 different swamps. I swear that man is something wrong with his brain.
That's
But
funny.
yeah, that's like the list of my big complaints.
Okay.
I've definitely said more throughout my playing that Brad has had to hear me rant about, I'm sure. But
Yeah, I mean, it definitely, that's realistically.
I feel like they're all like warranted complaints. I don't feel like
Yeah,
I'm being
that
too
stuff's-
nitpicky.
which we haven't, Bravo and I haven't experienced it yet because we're not far enough. But if if that's something that we run into, it, I mean, that is definitely something that's kind of disappointing. If you run into like the same boss, 5+ times, that's kind of insane. So yeah, but like I said, there's little things you can nitpick and whatnot, but realistically, that seems like the bigger things.
That's the biggest complaint.
Yeah.
That's my biggest complaint. Repetitive bosses.
My only additional complaint is Godric. I think Godric is a decent enough fight if you don't have access to summons. Like, why? It caught me off guard that I was actually able to summon and bring in an NPC help. Less for the NPC because that's that's pretty standard. But like it kind of, I was like, wow, this is a lot for this guy, especially for how easy he seemed to be. Like if it was a 1v1, at least it would be a 1v1.
He wasn't even difficult in a 1v1 realistically.
Yeah.
Like I said,
I mean, I'm not the best Souls player, but
Yeah.
I feel like I'm decent.
Yeah. Obviously, it's hard to make a Margit type fight all the time, but I don't know. I don't know.
I don't
know. Make me a market fight all the time. It's fun.
Yeah,
I think Margit's pretty cool.
I definitely think what happened is you probably just were, like the difficulty was so much higher from the last one that you go into it and it's like seems easy.
Yeah.
I think it's
Margit
really just
definitely Margit definitely sets the tone for this game right off the bat.
I know for a fact that there is a way to burst Godric down before he can even do his thing. Because the first time I fought him, I got him down to 20% before he was able. Because me and everybody else was just spamming that guy.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what was happening. I feel like he's kind of incomplete maybe because he needs like one more. Like this isn't even my final form. Like this is boom. Like he just kind of falls short, which
I feel
guess
like
is just gonna happen.
The game, going back to the Margit fight a bit, I feel like the game was really trying to force you to use a summon, use your ashes for the Margit fight. I mean, sure, people could go in and beat him, and apparently he's not very difficult if you're a mage or like a ranged focus character, or even if you just spam jump attacks because you break his poise really easily. But I feel like for typical melee users, they really wanted to like stress the fact that use your ashes, use the summons, and it just felt kind of cheesy to me.
I will say, if you are a caster or a ranged, there's a payoff. Okay, there's the opposite side of that because my roommate is playing a mage and it looks terrible because there's a lot of enemies out there that can dodge and he'll cast his spell and the enemy will go.
Yeah,
so he has to wait.
Pluses and minuses.
Yeah, he has to wait till they're like in his face and he goes pew, and then dodge rolls. Like assassins are like his worst. It was. I go out to get a drink or something and I'm like, oh, and I just watch him, just pew.
But how have you guys felt about? I mean, you guys have explored a little bit, maybe not the whole map. How have you felt about area design, like the areas themselves? Have you liked what you've seen? Have you found any areas you don't like? Cough, poison swamps, cough.
If we can call them biomes, I've only experienced like 3. The beginning area around the lake, the south area, the beginning of the south area, which is very similar to the first area.
It's a little more open though.
Yeah, and then the castle. I really liked the castle. I
hate those birds.
The
birds,
especially the fire birds.
Yeah, I really like the fact that the castle is actually it has enlisted troops in it, like defending the castle.
Yeah,
like it's something that I've been looking forward to in a Dark Souls game is like scale. All these epic things are happening, and you have a castle actually filled with soldiers, like platoons of soldiers. And if you run in there, either on turret or on your feet or whatever, you get. I mean, you can probably weasel through. I've done it a few times, but you get hit one time, they just swarm you, and that is amazing. I absolutely love that. The open area, so far, I really like it. I think the first area, kind of like south of the big bridge of the castle, is really cool, and the other area south of that, across the shorter bridge, I think is fine. I haven't ran into any swamps or any other kind of biome or anything, so I don't know if I can give a real answer.
Yeah.
If there's more, if there's more than that.
So, for me, one of the negatives I was going to say, for me at least, is actually one of the areas. And I don't know. I know you're right after the Godric fight, and I can't remember because I was doing a ton of adventuring around right after I finished Godric. But there's a door that you have to basically open to progress the story.
He's not there yet.
Okay.
I am at the I'm at the beginning of the long bridge at the castle. So like I just defeated Godric.
So
Okay, so you're going to the tower.
Yeah, because I was told that, I have to take his greater rune to that tower.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. So essentially around there, it's a relatively big area. If you venture off enough into the side areas, it basically looks similar to where that dragon is.
So the area you're talking about, Brad, is called Liurnia.
Yes. Okay, that area.
Liurnia.
That area can go somewhere else. It can just go anywhere else other than that game. That's where.
I wasn't a big fan of Liurnia.
Is
like the general area.
I'm gonna be honest. I will tell you right now. If I had to be in it longer than what I had, I would have turned the game off. I would have 100% turned the game off.
It's just like the area that I don't want to spend my time in. I made my way through it really quick.
When I told Joe this complaint I had, I feel like the game has some, and it's not all of it. Most of the game so far does not feel this way, by the way. In that area, it feels like there's a lot of openness and there's nothing there, and you're just roaming around. You can't really find your way around because there's like fog as well, and it just sucks. It's very like the colors suck. I understand they're trying to get a feel for it and whatnot, but it's not like they should have also understood that it's just not fun to explore, and
it's very empty.
Big, it's big and it's empty, so it sucks. And if you spend a lot of time there, it sucks. So
they definitely had like plot reasons of why it is the way it is.
Yeah.
If you like get into it, but it's not fun to be in. Like personally,
like I said,
I mean, there's probably some people who love that aesthetic.
Yeah.
It's just not for me.
That's exactly how I feel. It's just that was one of my gripes. It's not a huge, like when you take the grand scope of it, it's not really a huge issue because it, obviously this game is massive and that's a very small portion of it. But like I really hated it. Like I was like, oh, it's kind of cool in the beginning, when you first enter it. You're like, oh, look at this. It looks different. It's got fog and whatnot. It's a little creepy looking. And then you just, when you're there for a while, you're just running on, you're literally running on a horse. Everything looks the same. And you're just like, what?
Yeah.
Come on, man. When is this going to end? Come on. Please. Just end.
Yeah.
It's definitely my least favorite area as well.
Yeah. So that was.
Besides poison swamps. Poison swamps could.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure when I get there, I'm going to want to end myself. But, that other than that, yeah, I mean, I like the first areas of every game. I think it's just because it's your first impressions. So I really love that first opening area. And I mean I've liked everything up except for that point. So yeah, I mean I definitely got to give them kudos there. So
yeah. So
go ahead.
You have more?
No, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm quite a bit farther than the guys here. I'm gonna, if I use an area name, I'm gonna leave out like any giveaways of what the area is.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, the mountaintop of the blank is probably my favorite area in Dark Souls. Period. Like in all Souls games, it's aesthetically one of the coolest areas. It's just I love it. Everything about it. It feels atmospheric, like how I would expect an area like that to be. It has really cool lore to it. It has really cool enemies. It has really cool like decor, I'll say. Another area that I currently am just passing through and finishing up is Farum Azula. That area, it reminds me a lot of the Nameless King area from Dark Souls 3, but good lord, is it so much prettier on the PS5. And then Leyendell, even though I was about to lose it in that area because it became just a boss run, I absolutely adored the aesthetic of it. And having the Erd tree just in the background of all of it and standing out, it's like, bone apple tea. It's the game's just so pretty, and there has so many good areas. Like there hasn't been an area outside of like Liurnia that I've been in and just kind of been like meh. Like Limgrave is really cool. It's basic, but it looks really good for being like the basic grassland area. Then there's Caelid, which is like, oh, this weird, I don't even know how to describe what's going on with the giant shrimp. I don't have a better way to describe what the enemy is, so I just call them a shrimp. But then there's like the underground areas that are really cool, and the Altus Plateau and Mount Gelmir. It's just so good. Everything, like, you look at the areas and you're like, yes, they definitely took time and put more hours than I could ever imagine into designing like one area of this game, let alone the entire thing.
Mm.
And then to scale it for an open world.
Yeah, it's crazy. But now I think I know what you're talking about. So the shrimp guys, they're huge, kind of like the crabs. Is that what you're talking about? You said
No, those are the lobsters.
Oh, all right. Yeah, I'm mixing it up. It's late.
Mixing up my seafood.
I'm mixing up the seafood. It's late. I'm tired.
Yeah.
The so other than that, I mean, now that Bravo's gone, real quickly, I do like the area that I'm in where I'm fighting that one boss. Even though he's gonna hear this because he edits it, but I won't say the actual details. But
are you talking about inside of Liurnia?
Where the mage guys are. I'll use that.
Yeah.
It's a very non-descriptive way. A bunch of the mage guys. I do actually like the area. I think it's pretty cool. But
yeah, the castle itself is really cool.
Yeah, the castles in these games always look good though. So I always like the castles.
Elden Ring definitely takes it to the next level of making the castles feel alive.
Mm-hmm.
Did you say castles?
We'll find out.
But
my neighbor's dog was loose. Sorry.
Oh. But we've all run into a few really cool characters, NPCs thus far in the game.
Santa.
Yeah. Dog.
I just like
he
Santa.
has his little mule.
Yep.
And all of the soapstones are like dog.
Right finger.
And it's
bubble.
like clearly a
That's
horse
my
or
favorite.
something. Yeah. But have you guys run into any NPCs that really stood out? What do you think of Melinda, the firekeeper per se of this game?
I find Melinda interesting because I think there's more to her story than what is like what you're led to believe. I'm also really excited to play this game all the way through and then immediately play it through again, choosing all the opposite choices along like the main storyline. Because right now, I don't know about you guys, but right now, anytime somebody asks me about my, let's say, faith, I'm saying, oh yeah, I can still see the light. Like yeah, that's me. Or yeah, I'm a worshiper or whatever. You know, like I follow. I'm a person of this of this thing. But I want to go the opposite way, There might be a point in the story where I'm like, hold up, I don't do that anymore. Like I'm actually this other way. I don't know. It's cool. Standout characters, Patches.
I'm surprised you found him.
I
I found him and I was like, Brad is gonna lose it when he sees
I
this.
did, and
Yeah.
I knew how he was, so I didn't let him talk for a second before I whooped on him.
He was like, please spare. I was nope.
Yeah, he literally like all his animation is like he gets like kind of the shield above his head, whenever he kind of like squats down, and he said one word, and before he got the next word out, he was already dead. So
Oh, you
I was
killed
like-
him.
We both killed him.
I didn't know he
instantly.
I literally didn't know you could keep him alive until. So I think
I knew I
Joe-
could keep him alive.
Yeah.
I knew I could keep him alive. I chose not to.
Yeah, I didn't know. I thought he was just a boss.
I left him alive. We're gonna see what happens. I left him
Oh,
alive.
listen! After he booted me in that cave in Demon Souls, that boy
I also
is down.
And then in Dark Souls, he was the one in Dark Souls too, down in the catacombs, right? Was that Patches? Or am I confusing him with someone else?
I don't remember, honestly. I'd have to. I plan. This game has sparked this thing of I want to now play through all of them again.
Yeah, I can't remember. I think the voice actor is very similar. At a
Patches was in Dark Souls as well. He kicks you in the catacombs.
Okay.
minimum. Yeah. He tries to kill you twice. Yeah.
Yep. That's
more
why I
reason.
gave him. Yep. I didn't
More
give him a
reason.
chance to say anything. I was like, I don't see any holes, but we're not gonna wait and find
I'd
one.
have to look at my inventory, but he gives you something, or he said, "Son of a gun." I think he said he would give you something, which is obviously, now that I think about it, he's just gonna try to kill me again.
So he actually, I didn't go that route before fighting Margit, but he actually sells shackles for Margit that you could use during the fight that like stops Margit and holds him in place for a while.
Oh.
I don't know. That's interesting.
Yeah,
I
I found out after.
Let's do our number.
I really don't.
Oh,
know.
go ahead.
Hold on.
Well,
we talk about what
my
Brad
bad, my
likes,
bad,
what
my
I
bad.
like.
Well, first of all, I didn't talk about my biggest negative of the game. I would say either. So
I thought it was the fog area.
Okay, well, do that.
No. The fog area does suck, but my biggest negative is not even that big of a negative, but it's more of a disappointment that the game is not as graphically nice as Demon Souls. But it's more of me, I guess, expecting the game to be like PS5 exclusive, but I guess I should have toned it back knowing that the game's on PS4 as well and whatnot. So
As well as it's on Xbox.
yeah,
and PC.
you know,
Whereas that's definitely where like the difference is, because Demon Souls was made just for PS5 to show off the glory of it.
I wasn't it wasn't that I was expecting it. It was just more of like a disappointment of like I saw Demon Souls, you know. That game is still right now I think the best looking game I've ever played. And when I play it,
He's talking about the PS3 version, by the way.
yeah, PS3 version by far. It's more of you know what it is, I guess for myself. The game is massive, obviously, and it doesn't take anything away having like the game could literally look like Demon Souls on PS3 still, and you know, as long as the gameplay was smooth and you had the world, the cool enemy designs and whatnot, it's still gonna be fun because the graphics don't do anything. But it's when you're looking and you're like, that's the same backstab animation that was from like 2009. You know, for like the same weapon that was in there. But obviously, it's like this game is so massive. Do you want them to take time away from producing everything else to then make a new backstab animation or any, you know?
Yeah, me
list
and
goes
Brad
on.
have had this discussion.
Yeah.
When it comes to the animations, so we'll use the Claymore, for example, a basic weapon that's been in every one of the Souls games. What's the point of changing the animation, realistically, in my opinion? Like, you have a good animation for it. Does it? Do you really have to go in and make it like, maybe this time we're going to stab with the left hand?
Yeah. No,
It's
I
just,
guess
it seems like a waste of time to me.
Okay, so I'll give you one example that I feel, and it just literally happened to me. I was literally thinking about clipping it for this episode, and I was like, I just pulled myself away from like I'm like it's not worth the effort and so there was a guy I can't even explain to you, but he was like slumped over. I think he had like shackles or something onto him, or he was like no, he was bent over and he looks like an enemy, and he's actually a good guy. So and he's kind of like this. He's like, oh please, whatever, don't hit me. Right? But when you watch him, it's literally this is his mouth movement.
Yeah,
And
I get it.
It's the same pace, the same thing every
Yeah.
time, and then, like I said, like Demon Souls doesn't have it perfectly, but it actually has like facial animations, lip sync, and whatnot.
Yeah.
And obviously, that's a massive undertaking. I guess I'm just looking and I'm like I said, I'm thinking about it. It's 2022, and I'm looking at this and I'm like that facial animation definitely could have been on a PS3.
Yeah, it for sure can. But to be fair, a lot of these open world RPG games have that similar, like, they just basic generic mouth
and
movement.
it is
Like,
tough to take Demon Souls, which is a very linear, smaller,
Yeah.
scoped game. Where
that
they
was
could,
remade.
and they could
that
take the
was remade.
time to focus on that stuff.
Yeah.
Like I said, I guess I was just looking at it and I'm like, I could have seen them putting in more effort.
I think we can
basically-
all agree that more effort would have been nice. I mean,
Would have been
it
nice.
Great.
Basically, this is my thought. Take that area I didn't like, delete it,
and
and then
the crater comes down. Boom.
Yeah,
it's
just
gone.
just delete it and just be like, all the items that were here it is in this little line. It's a little gift for you. And here's some cool animations for it. I don't know.
But back catching up to where we're at here, Brad. What are your thoughts on NPCs? Do you have any favorites? Anyone along those lines?
I like actually a lot of them. Like just so that one girl that gives you Squidward, I kind of like her. I feel like
Are you talking about the one that gives you the bell?
so she's the girl that gives you the squid summon. She's in a shack, and then
she's on the
and
path.
She tells you
Yeah,
about
yeah,
her
yeah.
troops. Yeah.
yep, and then she ends up back in your home base.
Yep.
I can never remember the name of the round thing.
Yeah.
The round
The
table.
round table hold.
Yeah, so she ends up there. I kind of like her design. I don't know, but she looks very similar to a lot of the chill girls in the games. Like she looks like almost like a cleric or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But she looks cool. I do actually kind of like the blacksmith. I always feel like the blacksmiths look cool in the games.
They love blacksmiths over
yeah,
from
they're
Soft.
cool.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Bravo's seen it, but I liked the. I'm not gonna say it. Never mind. There's a person
Bravo,
that
earmuffs.
well, he's gonna
Yeah.
hear it anyways because he's gonna edit the damn thing.
No, earmuffs.
Basically, all right. There's just in the round table. This person leans up against it, doesn't talk. Like
Yep.
this. Yeah, that person. There's a reason for it too. Afterwards,
Yeah.
but I don't know why it even triggered for me. But if it was something,
Yeah.
yeah.
I like a lot of them. I don't love any of them. I think they're all a lot of the NPCs that you talk to. They all seem really cool. Like they've got their own little thing going for them.
Yeah, they're then again, I'm not like a person that's like diving super deep. Basically, I'm letting the YouTube people dive deep into the story. They're gonna explain
And I just
it to
play
me.
through it, and then I'll listen to them tell me what happened.
I want to slay some stuff. That's what I want to do. Okay, I want to
And
get through
then
the bosses.
They could tell me after I beat the game
Yeah,
what just
exactly.
happened.
All right, I just killed King Doofy, and all right, what did he do? Why did I kill him?
But I'm obviously a little bit farther. We've gone down that road. I love Melinda as a character. I think she's probably my favorite of the. I don't like to call her a firekeeper, but she basically is a firekeeper. Even though we're maidenless, she's our maiden. Because in the world of Elden Ring, they let gamers know that we get no women.
Get no whammon.
Quite often they tell you that you're maidenless and would like to rub it in. But Melinda, everything through, don't know if I'm completely finished with her like storyline or not, but I believe I'm just about, if I'm not already done with her. And then Ronnie, the little blue doll-looking chick that gives you the summoning bell.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I
she's
think
cool.
her character model is just so cool.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, those two like are the ones that really stood out to me. Obviously, Patches, I saw him and the temper started flaring. I was
Already, you don't right off the cliff.
I I was ready to get my fisticuffs ready.
Do you see the doll girl, the one with the blue eyes? Do you see her more?
Yeah, she has a big quest line.
Okay, all right. Because I literally have seen her. I think maybe twice. But,
Yeah, she has her own quest line.
all right. So yeah, we're almost at an hour and a half. So why don't we start wrapping it up and just give our scores? I guess real quick. What we and we're gonna come back to Elden Ring. I don't know if we're gonna do an actual official catch-up episode, but basically, game of the month's gonna be Elden Ring. So we'll be talking about it again, and probably once we're finished, and we'll give another score at that point. So,
yeah, at the beginning of next month, we'll do a catch-up episode and we'll talk about this game.
yeah. So how about Bravo? We'll start with you. What are we feeling for a score?
Oh boy, I don't want any judgment from this. Okay, I'm only
Judging.
20 hours in, and
Only.
I have the most problems out of both of you. Okay, but I still give this game a 9 out of 10. Like, I highly recommend playing this game. It's got some obvious things that could be improved, but I give this a 9.5 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I have full faith in From Software that they're going to correct the performance issues, so that's not even really a factor into my gameplay. And I die a lot, so maybe I just don't care. But the times that I've died due to the performance, it's like, okay, I'll go pick up my souls now. If they don't fix it in like a year, I'd be like, oh man, that's terrible.
That's terrible. I had a lot of fun playing it.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm really enjoying the game. If I can be so bold, I would say that this is their magnus opus. This is From Software's combination of all previous games, all previous benefits from all the other games, all the things that I've loved, and combined into this one open world game. I'm still waiting to get my glider though. Where's my anyways, what about you guys?
I guess I'll go next because I'm not as far as Joe. Joe's we're rounded out. I would say as of right now, I think the score is fair for. Honestly, I go kind of back and forth. Like some part of me wants to go a little bit lower, but I think a 9 is pretty fair. And I think what it is like I said, there's a few times where there's some things that are frustrating with the game itself. Like I said, the area just kind of flat out sucked. They definitely need to put a little bit more something into it, or just make it smaller and just make it less running with a horse, like horse riding simulator or something. I don't know. And at least that's how I felt it was. And like I said, to me, just graphically wise, I was just a tad disappointed, but that's not even taking points away. I think it's more of that people were having issues, and even hearing that Joe has the boss stuff, I'm taking his word for it, essentially, is what it is. But similarly to what Bravo said, I would say this is darn close to the best From Software game. I put it this way: being 20 hours deep into it, comparing it to a lot of other games, like if I put 20 hours into like 25ish hours into Resident Evil, I've played through the game a bunch and I've almost completed it, like trophies wise. And this game, it's like we're just getting started, baby. So,
you haven't even gotten started yet.
yeah, so it's they're giving you your bang for your buck. If you enjoy it, hold on, you're definitely getting your money's worth. I definitely think it's worth picking up, but I don't think it's a masterpiece as of right now, which also could be from us hyping this game literally up more than anything I think I've hyped up.
Guilty.
Yeah, I honestly think I might have overhyped it, which is probably my biggest flaw when I really like a game. So I'd say a 9 out of 10 is fair. I agree.
Isn't it nice though to have a game hyped so much and be able to actually enjoy it?
And then still give it a 9 out of 10.
The fact
like
put it this way, the fact that it was that I hyped it up this much and I am playing the game nowhere near finished, and all I'm thinking about is the next character I want to make because I want to I'm finding stuff and I'm like, damn, I can't use this because I'm a strength build right now and I want to be, I want to do like a dex intelligence or a dex, this. I want to do a strength index one, whatever. I'm just thinking of all these different things or mess around with more of the spells. Like right now I'm kind of like a cleric, I guess you could say, or a paladin or something. Like I'm essentially using the I can't remember what
a big sword.
Yeah, I'm using big sword, and I'm also using the cantations or something. Incantations.
Basically, the equivalent of miracles. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm using the miracles, which all I'm using those are like increase fire resistance, increase magic resistance, and cure poison. Those are the things I cycle between. So not real crazy miracles, but we're doing something.
All right. So I've given you guys about 50 different ratings in our group chat, and it basically changes on the daily.
Joe,
I've been everywhere from 14 out of 10 to 2 out of 10.
Yeah, Joe literally at one point when I was away for work was ready to give the game about a 5, probably a 5 or 6 out of 10.
I was ready to be done playing the game. I was so angry. But all in all, I'm very picky whenever it comes to rating games. Even though I was super hyped about this game, I don't feel any different in a way of I'm going to rate it. If anything, it's probably worse for the game. I think the overall game is absolutely a must play for any open world RPG, ARPG, Souls-like fan. I feel like everybody who's into that thing should play this game. If you like difficult games, it's right up your alley. If you like massive open worlds with tons of lore, it's up your alley. The game's on the very basic scale a 10 out of 10 in the fact that I would recommend everybody who is into that should play it. The actual game itself, taking into all the issues, the bosses repeating, the bugs that PC players have, the little bit of frame drops that have been reported through PS5, some of the bugs that have happened on PS5 where the game's just randomly closing, and I know Brad had it randomly just kick him out.
I actually forgot about that. I literally lost probably about 30 minutes of progression because the game like I said, my hours aren't tracked correctly because I'll be doing stuff and then I get called away, got to do something for the wife or whatever, and then I come back, and I came back and I was like, oh, PlayStation must have went to sleep. But the PlayStation legitimately crashed. It had to do a repair to the hard drive because, and I guess this is somewhat common. It happened to me 2 or 3 times, but the one time it happened and it literally deleted my progress, and I lost literally like a half hour worth of progress, which I was, in the grand scheme of things, I guess isn't too much, but it's a significant amount that kind of sucks, you know.
Yeah, for sure. But taking into consideration like those issues, the issues that PC's having, it's only been a week realistically for the game's release. I mean, it takes more than a week to figure out what's causing some of these problems and what's required to fix it. I'm completely a realist in that. But rating the release of the game in its current state, the boss issue being my biggest complaint, I give this game a 7 out of 10. And I'm saying that in its current state. I would still recommend everybody to play the game. Because what is good in this game is phenomenal. I think it's probably FromSoft's first or second best game. The only one I would say that would compete still would be Bloodborne. And I think that the game is incredible. The story to it, it's not the best story, but it's Dark Souls in open world form. You read the items, you get a ton of lore, and that's where like the story comes in my perspective. I love the lore. So I feel like that takes away from it a lot of these bugs that I've run into. And even like some of the boss fights, there's no reason, in my opinion, mainline boss fights should be redone outside of one that happens in that. But like, you shouldn't have little cave bosses end up being major bosses in the game. That's, to me, unacceptable. And that's like where the main hit comes.
Yeah.
But the big bosses that are there, some of them are so good. There's some of like the most fun bosses in all Souls, all of FromSoft's game. It's just the issues that are there really hurt.
Yeah. So when we come back in a month, we'll talk about, you know, however many hours we've got in the game. We'll see if our critiques and comments of the game change at all. We'll see what our reviews change to. Maybe even they've patched the game by then. We'll see. But we'll touch on it again.
Yeah, I would say at that point when we talk about it, all bets are off. We're going to be spoiling things, I'm sure.
Yeah, we pretty much did here.
Once you guys beat the game, it's
what I
over
mean
for you.
is, like Joe's not going to be tiptoeing around bosses.
Mountain blank.
Yeah, exactly. Like we'll be calling out the bosses and stuff, because there's definitely a lot of things that that could have been obviously said by Joe specifically that he's doing for us a favor more so than anything else. So we
basically saying that I don't care about you listeners, I just care about these two. Which is a lie. It's the exact opposite.
It is true. Yeah, he forced me to watch day one at midnight. He's like, you gotta watch a little bit, and then I fell asleep watching. So, all right, yeah, I think we did it, and I think we actually kept it somewhat not too bad of a.
Alrighty, gang.
Hey, could have been 3 hours.
Yeah, if you stuck around to the end, we appreciate you. Hit that like, subscribe, yell at us on Twitter at envision_org. And if you've played the game, tell us what you thought and if we missed anything. And we'll catch you in a month whenever we talk about it again. And we'll catch you next week for our next week's episode.
About next week.
Goodbye.